In 1996, Pepsi ran a television commercial with a seemingly ridiculous punchline. If you collected 7 million Pepsi Points, they would give you a fully operational military fighter jet. The aircraft in question was a Harrier jump jet. At the time, it cost the United States military roughly $32 million to build and was heavily armed for combat, hardly a practical vehicle for a teenager's morning commute to high school. Most viewers instinctively understood this was a joke, but in contract law, the line between a humorous marketing gag and a legally binding commercial offer can be remarkably thin. By assigning a literal point value to a weapon of mass destruction, Pepsi had inadvertently framed an exaggerated gag as a formal business transaction, opening a door for anyone with enough points to try and walk through it. To understand how Pepsi made this mistake, you have to look at the hyper-competitive cola wars of the 1990s. Pepsi and Coca-Cola were pouring billions of dollars into aggressive marketing, desperately trying to capture the loyalty of a younger demographic. As part of this push, Pepsi launched a massive loyalty program. The premise was simple: buy cans of soda, tear off the physical points from the packaging, and mail them in for catalog merchandise like sunglasses and leather jackets. John Leonard was a 21-year-old business student. When he saw the Harrier Jet commercial, he didn't laugh. He looked at the advertisement purely through the lens of contract law. Pepsi's marketing executives assumed basic common sense would protect them. They figured no consumer would actually try to buy a military aircraft with soda labels. But relying on assumed common sense is a dangerous strategy when dealing with a highly motivated consumer looking for an edge. Leonard did the math. To acquire 7 million points through raw consumption, you'd need to drink 7 million cans of Pepsi. At 190 cans daily, it would take over a century. The brute force method was biologically impossible, but Leonard refused to drop the idea. He opened the official Pepsi stuff catalog and started reading the fine print, looking for another way in. He found a hidden clause. With at least 15 original Pepsi points, you could purchase the remaining points for 10 cents each. This shifted the math. 7 million points minus 15 multiplied by 10 cents meant the jet cost exactly $700,000. Leonard had discovered a highly profitable arbitrage opportunity, acquiring a $32 million military asset for less than $1 million in cash. He went straight to work, pitching his plan to a group of wealthy investors and raising the necessary capital. He then filled out an official Pepsi order form, enclosed his 15 original soda points, and attached a certified check for exactly $700,008. When that envelope landed at Pepsi headquarters, the executive board panicked. A college student successfully outsmarted their entire legal and marketing department. Pepsi quickly returned the check, claiming the ad was purely fantasy. Leonard refused to accept that answer, hired a legal team, and threatened to sue for fraud and breach of contract. Before he could file, Pepsi launched a preemptive federal lawsuit to have the case thrown out. The dispute instantly became a global media sensation. Consumer rights activists rallied behind Leonard, while legal scholars fiercely debated what constitutes a legitimate advertising offer. The entire situation was a public relations disaster. When a multi-billion-dollar brand is forced to preemptively sue a single college student in federal court to protect its assets, the marketing strategy has thoroughly collapsed. The legal battle over the Harrier Jet dragged on for 3 long years inside the federal court system. This flowchart outlines a central threshold in contract law that the judge relied upon: the reasonable person standard. This principle asks whether an objective, average person would interpret an advertisement as a genuine binding offer or merely an obvious joke. The court ruled in Pepsi's favor. The judge noted that the Harrier Jet was clearly depicted as a romanticized fantasy, stating that a heavily armed military vehicle capable of destroying buildings is objectively absurd as a method for commuting to high school. Because no reasonable person could look at that commercial and conclude it was a serious commercial offer, the advertisement was legally classified as a non-binding fantasy, not a formal contract. While the lawyers were still fighting in court, Pepsi quietly rushed to pull the television commercial and edit the final frames. They increased the requirement from 7 million points to 700 million and plastered a massive, explicit disclaimer across the screen that read, "Just kidding." John Leonard never got his fighter jet, but the case became a landmark lesson in corporate liability, now taught in business schools worldwide. It served as a definitive signal that marketing required absolute legal precision, leading to the dense walls of disclaimers that now define modern television advertising. The Pepsi Point Harrier case remains a permanent fixture in business schools worldwide. It serves as a timeless warning to multi-billion-dollar empires. If you put a precise price tag on an illusion, eventually someone is going to show up with the cash.